Okay, so today we are starting chapter 3. I know everyone's super excited. And our chapter 3 is all about inequalities. So the first thing we need to do always is write our vocabulary down. So an inequality is a mathematical sentence that compares the values of two expressions using an inequality symbol. Oops. Inequality symbol. So I know most of you have seen these before, but if you can't remember what each one stands for, so if we have our caret pointing to the left, that means we have less than. If we have our caret pointing to the right, it's going to be greater than. Oops, greater than. Okay, and if we have a caret pointing to the left with a line under it, that means that we have less than or equal to. Okay, and a caret pointing to the right with a line under it means greater than or equal to. Okay, so the biggest thing we need to see here is that the open side of the caret should always be pointing towards the larger side, okay? So we're going to write inequalities just from words. We did this at the very beginning of the year. I know everybody loved it. We're going to do it again. So instead of having the word is in between all of these, we're going to have either less than or equal to or less than, greater than, all that stuff. So what I want to see first is what our inequality expression is. So our inequality expression is going to be that less than or equal to. Okay, and we are comparing x and -7. So we are going to have x, then we've got our less than or equal to sign. So if we come up here, it's going to be caret pointing to the left, and underline, and then we've got a -7 on the other side. That's all we're doing. So with our next one, this one is a little bit more tricky because we've got 6 less than a number k is greater than. So we want to look for that is greater than, not just that less than. So is greater than is going to be what we're going to use. So on this side, we've got 6 less than a number k. So when we have 6 less than a number, that means we've got k minus 6. Our greater than sign is a caret pointing to the right. And we've got 13 on the other side. Okay, so go ahead and try writing your own inequality expressions. So for this one, we've got all real numbers p greater than or equal to 1.5. So we've got p on this side, greater than or equal to, and 1.5. Okay, and this next one, it says the sum of t and 7 is less than -3. So is less than is our expression, and we've got t plus 7 and our less than symbol and -3. Okay, if we move on to the next page, we have the solution of an inequality. So the solution of an inequality is any value or values of a variable. Let me erase this, hopefully. Okay, of a variable in the inequality that makes the inequality true. Okay, so for these ones, we are given an inequality expression or an inequality sentence, and we need to figure out if the number that it gives us makes it true. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to plug this number into where we see x. So for this one, we've got 2 times -3 plus 1 is greater than -3. Okay, so if we do 2 times -3, that's going to give us -6 plus 1 is greater than -3. So -6 plus 1 is -5. It says greater than -3. We know that -5 is not greater than -3. Therefore, it is not a solution. Okay? Let's try it for the next one. If we have 2 times -1 plus 1 is greater than -3. So 2 times -1 is -2 plus 1 greater than -3. -2 plus 1 is -1 greater than -3. -1 is greater than -3. Therefore, this is a solution. Okay? So go on and try the got it problem on your own. You should have four different answers here. So we have -13 minus 7 times -1 is less than or equal to 6. So we got 13 plus 7 is less than or equal to 6. 20 is less than or equal to 6. 20 is not less than or equal to 6, so that doesn't work. We have 13 minus 7 times 0 is less than or equal to 6. That just gives us 13 is less than or equal to 6, and that is not true as well. We'll have 13 minus 7 times 1 is less than or equal to 6. So that gives us 13 minus 7 is less than or equal to 6. That gives us 6 is less than or equal to 6. Since we've got this less than or equal to sign, this is true. Okay, so that's a good one. And the final one we have is 13 minus 7 times 3 is less than or equal to 6. So 13 minus 21 less than or equal to 6. 13 minus 21 is -7. Which is in fact less than or equal to 6. So our solutions are 1 and 3. Okay. Move on to the next page. Now we're going to look at graphing inequalities. So when we're using a graph to indicate inequalities, what we need to know is what an open dot and a closed dot means. So an open dot means that there's not an actual solution at that particular number. So not a solution, and a closed dot means that there is a solution. Okay, so an inequality is written with a variable on the number line. Okay, the inequality symbol points in the direction of the shading. So what that means is if we have n is less than 1, since n is less than 1, n does not equal 1, therefore we have this open circle here. Okay, and it says less than, so that means we're going to shade less than that 1. Okay, over here we've got a is greater than or equal to 0. That means that we can have that closed dot, and since a is on this side, we can shade to the greater than. Okay, on this one it says f is greater than -3, so we've got an open dot at -3 because we've just got our greater than symbol, there's no equals to, and since our f is on our left side, we can shade up. Okay, what I always want you to do is make sure that your variable is on the left side of the equation. So for this one, we can change it to where it says x is less than or equal to -2. Now that we know that, we've got this less than or equal to sign, so we've got a closed dot at -2, and we are going to shade in the direction of the arrow. Okay, so when we're graphing an inequality, the first thing I want you to do always is to make sure that your variable is on the left side, meaning your variable always needs to come first. So this says 2 is greater than or equal to a. We are going to switch this around. We're going to reverse everything, which means we're going to have a, we're going to reverse the sign, is less than or equal to 2. Okay, so we're going to find 2 on the number line. So we've got it right here. Since this is a less than or equal to, we're going to give it a closed dot. Should have closed dot on 2. and our arrow is pointing to the left, so we are going to shade to the left. Okay, and that's all we're doing. Okay, so go ahead and start graphing your got it problems. So for this one, we're finding -4 on the number line. Since it's a greater than sign, but no equal sign with it, it's an open dot. And we are shading all the way to the right. It's going to go on forever. Okay, for this one, we have C is less than 0. So we're going to have an open dot at 0, and we are shading to the left. And on C here, we need to flip it around. So we've got N is greater than or equal to 3. So we're going to find 3 on the number line. It's greater than or equal to, so we're going to close that dot. And we are going to shade to the right. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to write our inequality from a graph. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write x, and we're going to write -1 because we see that that's where our -1 is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out if it's an open or closed dot. So this one is closed, so we're going to have that equal sign, and we want to see which way it's pointing. So for this one, it is pointing in the positive direction or the right direction, which means it means greater than or equal to. Okay. Down here, we're going to write x, and we're going to write the number that we have, which is 4. This is an open dot, which means there's not going to be a line under it, and it's pointing in the negative direction, which means less than. Okay. Let's go ahead and try your got it problems. For this one, we have x and -3. We have an open dot. We've got it pointing to the negative direction, so it's less than. And we've got x and 0. It's pointing positive, and it's got a closed dot. So you've got greater than or equal to.